To continue on with the coverage of Super Mario 64's Hack of 2023, coming in third place, Collab.z64 is a collaborative SM64 ROM hack that has multiple authors on romhacking.com. But considering the release trailer was uploaded on Cheezepin's YouTube channel, I can only assume that they were the head honcho of the grand idea of this collaborative effort. So right from the get-go, the good doggo showing up and revealing a new file select menu screen and with an options tabs, and you know your boy had to enable that nice decomp helping 16:9 people neglect and ignore for some reason. But on to the game story, with Peach and Mario adopting a new pupper whose canonical name is probably Goddard, and that's the main name that always pops up. And since the game gives us, the player, a choice in the matter to name the dog, I ultimately went with KeyBlader. A name that most won't know is the name of the dog from the Super Mario Bros. Anime movie that most people don't even know exists. It's pretty good, and I think you should check it out for yourself whenever you get the chance. As for what happens next, Bowser just kicks in the door, scaring the living daylights out of everyone but Mario, and compliments the new dog, snatches Peach, and jumps through the ceiling, making his getaway. And that's just the basic story premise we've all known for years, so not much new besides the new companion. Nonetheless, following Bowser and leading towards a globe hidden in an attic area as we get presented with the main course of what this hack cuisine is going to offer. I gotta say though, being presented with a rotating planet showcasing each individual lands you'll be going through is a grand view to see, and even selecting a course just to get a closer preview of what is included as a sneak peek is already interesting, just to say the least. And since all of the levels within this hack is made by a different person, I feel as though I should talk briefly about each one in a way that gives them that well-deserved justice for this showcase. So enough gushing about the map and more on the levels themselves. The first course right from the start is Maple Markindon by Ashley and BeverlyBean. It's a beautiful, well-designed area for what you'd expect from some floating Super Mario Japanese Sakura garden during either the season of spring or autumn. And the new features included in this ROM hack really show themselves here, like having a first-person mode to have a clear view across the lands where you're going to be yahooing around and about. The Galoombas from Super Mario World make a return here and work the same way they did in that game. Even the Nipper plants from Super Mario Bros. 3 are here and will hunt you down and even jump at you whenever you try to jump up top of them, just like in Super Mario Bros. 3. For a start to a ROM hack, this is a pleasing experience to have as an introduction. It's not too much of being hard and it's not too confusing to traverse around, and along with the music, it just gives you that good feel-good vibes to the area. And although this small mini lake is a small part to this level, it also works as a preview to the new swimming mechanics with the better flow it has compared to the vanilla SM64, with the only cost being the ability to grab while you're underwater. But classic in that Mario feel that he no longer needs air, so you're not going to be stressed out by that. And speaking of grabs, grabbed objects that you pick up, Mario moves with a pep in his step, and even if you have a grabbed objects and then you hang off the edge of a cliff or whatever, it's like he places the object in front of him, which is something that I found really neat and useful. Not only that, but gripping onto the ceiling vines also adds that same type of pep, like he's really moving with a purpose compared to what we're really used to. But before I get ahead of myself, on to the next. Cumulus Correctional Center by MrComit. This course starting out in a more direct introduction when it comes down to its tutorials of its unique varieties of clouds in this sky level that have their own type of features here, like this cloud who cries tears of joy and uplifts you upwards, happy clouds that twirl you up in a boing-like fashion, clouds that have some sort of stress reliever once you step on them. Ah yes, the average Twitch viewer's life experience. And some that even help you out make a new path by throwing up funny colors because they ate too many Skittles, I guess. This level is another soothing level to go through like the first, and it's also the first you're actually going to truly see the doggo himself and be a sort of guide to things whenever you're able to talk to him or her, whatever have you, and then listening in on what their barks is really saying. You got this Lakido whose clouds have been scattered away from him, which is basically Mario and the 5 Secrets kind of star act, and made to make sense and fit the area's overall aesthetic. And a little detail I love was how this whole area, I'm assuming, takes place in the desert level in order to have that similar colored debris kick up whenever Mario runs, and even getting stuck in the clouds after a very long fall. Though the inside of the facility isn't too much to talk about compared to the outside, but it brings a bit of a casual challenge for the red coins as each clear cloud vanishes after a while, unlike the not so clear ones, but still a soothing time to be had. Hair-raising High Rise by Someone 2639. And upon entering the level, seeing a transit dropping off Mario with the textureless 3D geometry with that middle school PowerPoint 3D text on the building definitely adds on to that little nostalgic feel. We're going inside, we end up facing good doggo discrimination as we're told that the dog can't go inside. We simply ignore the front desk receptionist and enter anyways. For the most part, the course acts feel like something of chores to do, and not in a bad way, but each having its own flair to it. Like the first act is Toad basically tells you a cheat code in order to like have the dog come inside, even though we've already stepped inside, by grabbing this shades emoji to prove that Mario is blind as fuck, grabbing a cane that's at the upstairs portion made out of candy to prove Mario has no sight. I guess it kind of makes perfect sense, you know? And it definitely gets that Toad to do his actual job, and also lets our good doggo to have free range to roam around. But now, with that said freedom to roam around, each act will consist of the front desk Toad demanding us to do his job, helping the other Toads in their everyday shenanigans, like moving couches and stopping our dog from making another couch its chew toy, helping drain a pool from a Toad who can't actually swim, while also witnessing our dog perform godly acts like walking on water. But because he's a good boy, it's best to enjoy the time together, like playing soccer or football for those that don't speak American. The level overall is kind of a mixed bag of simplicity and charm. As mentioned before, the lack of textures for stuff, and when stuff does have textures, giving an uncanny feel, but in a good way. And considering the level's background, yeah, I'm guessing that's just a coincidence. I mean, it's not like Mario's from Brooklyn or anything, right? Like, you know, right? Bowser's Flying Fortress by Cheezepin. It starts out in a snowy random area, invisible walls to be had, but down in this hidden hole being a cannon, and shooting into a hole beneath the fortress, starting a Zelda Super Nintendo classic tune of Hyrule Castle music, which is a really great start for something. For a fortress by Bowser, it having a garden of sorts was a new theme I never thought I'd actually like, but I really did here, and it really makes a lot of sense. Though I do kind of wish it had more of those garden vines all throughout the outsides of the walls and such, and maybe even within the insides. But our good doggo breaking through the wall like the Chad he is, and inside of the fortress sporting that Mario Story 64's Koopa Troll soldiers, which I wasn't really sure if you could actually defeat them, but nonetheless you got troll faces on the walls, and even Bowser looking like a French girl waiting to be drawn on the Titanic or something. It's a well-designed level, with it being more on the linear side while still having that Super Mario feeling to it, which is funny when you consider the fact that there's Zelda music in the background that helps the atmosphere. So maybe some rain in the background that could also like help amplify the vibes, but for the most part it's the expected Bowser's roll and the red coins to collect a star along the way. But at the top, where our dog awaits, and the rainbow beams flowing upwards ascending to the arena, just to have Bowser flex by shredding white powder like it's Sonic Adventure. But regardless, it's Mario and Chomp versus Mario and Doggo, and he's dead. You know, it had a really great start, terrible finish, but you know what? Classic Bowser, doing something really cool just to end up getting the really bad short end of the stick. But on to World 2, Course 1, Koopa Atoll by BeverlyBean. A little island with a hut for a lone Koopa, and the surroundings having that Mario flair with the clouds with faces and some with just eyeballs. You got Goombas remodeled as walking coconuts, and X marks the spot to a star the good doggo helps you out with. The subtle details of tree leaves flowing along the wind, the damn water looking so crisp. This may have been a small area, but it's packed with a lot of good finer small details to be had. I mean, I spent like 20 seconds just looking at the shadows the trees have, just because they didn't need to make it detailed the way they did, but they did, and I'm fascinated by it. For the most part, this is a small level, so it has a small amount of what there is to do, so everything kind of gets wrapped up very simplistic and very fast. It would just kind of like a compare and contrast to the idea of after a fight with Bowser and now it's time to take it easy by spending time at the beach, as if it's like a beach arc in an anime or something, I don't know. Checking out the coral reefs, dodging bloopers while swimming for the red coins, running along the beach like a Baywatch actor, or even jumping into a volcano to face off the face of Eastern Island. It's the Hakuna Matata of this ROM hack, and is a simple 1 star at a time at your own leisure. But continuing on, Peach's Ruins by Rovertronic, which in contrast to everything I had just said about the last level, it's the complete opposite of what was a relaxing getaway, and I would also guess intentional as a metaphor for if you relax during the trying times, the castle oh so familiar to us will suffer and is now in a ruined state with the remains of the Super Mario 64 castles inside at the display here, scattered along the volcanic lands, and with the additions of the beta cut content enemies, the motos, which some definitely got the best of me at times. The atmosphere of what used to be a bunch of greenery, scenery, is now full of flames and hot lava around, with the hot-headed elements like fire thrombs that's hot to the touch, and a fiery bridge with the actual hotheads themselves jumping from down from the pits of lava below. Some of the spots the dogs can dig up may either help you or be a hindrance to you. You got spinning sprinklers spewing out hot blue embers rotating like the classic fireballs of old, and even having lethal explosive mines placed around the area's many paths to blow you up, and even having the once high tower that towered over the lands of the Mushroom Kingdom at the center of the castle is now reduced to a simple boat ride while dodging missiles and hotheads once again. Platforms that don't have any indications that they will sink until it's far too late. I gotta say, Rover really cooked here. Maybe a little too literally, but even dealing with the enemies and toes from those that caged them up, just to end it with a mini boss battle that has the same Tankman's Ugh theme from Friday Night Funkin'. These ROM hackers, man, how dare they give me some enjoyments? How dare they give me some good memeable enjoyments? Swirling Circus by CowQuack. Continuing with the enjoyment experience and the name clear to see, toads as clowns and as regular circus enjoyers, with glizzies to be eaten, cotton candies for your cavities, and ice creams of the old that most probably don't know of nowadays, with the cursed images they have and misaligned gummy eyeballs. But what's to be expected of a circus carnival environment, entering the main building through a clown's mouth and into the madhouse itself? Spinning carousels with horse rides within, and the clown-themed arms as obstacles to go through, making that Mario worldly vibe by having them float over the dark pit abyss below, and finally getting that carny feel by having a huge Ferris wheel at the forefront and making it out to be a big platforming joy to ride in, and still have that activeness so you don't get blown away and, you know, die. Or even going through rooms inside of the building and seeing a smorgasbord of elements to be had while collecting red coins, spinny thingies to uplift you and make you float about, big balloons to jump from platform to platform, and really showcasing the chaotic nature a circus can have in a fun show to see. But to further in on that chaotic factor, having another mini boss as Bozo the showed up clown, which all he wanted to do was to bring in an enjoyable show for the small audience he has, but because Mario is made out to be a dick in yet another ROM hack, once again a boss fight happens with wackiness ensuing of dodging lethal balls, throwing bombs, and an overly comical goofy fight that ends with the most used cloud of smoke with particles bursting out with stars like a Looney Tunes cartoon of old, a true dogfight if I say so myself. Though I still gotta feel bad for the clown, all he wanted to do was do his job, but you know, Mario has to do what Mario does. Awe-inspiring Spires by KeyBlader, which is a whole course with what's probably huge Tesla coils with stormy thunder, with that Sonic Adventure 2 meteor level music, invisible paths the doggo knows but we do not, the tower-like enemies from Super Mario 3D World, or maybe Super Mario 3D Land, it's been a while, and a multitude of towers to traverse upward to, with each of them having a unique premise to them, like the white pillar that has invisible platforms that you have to make a mental note on with the help of the good doggo paw prints inside. Another pillar that has red coins inside to collect and has altered the gravity to be more floaty, and also requires you to think a little bit when it comes down to collecting a few of the coins at the very top. A blue tower with its basic climb that has its low difficulty platforming, and even a wall kicking test that, if like me, you will fail many times, but at least falling off the level isn't punishing and just spawns you back to where you were last positioned at. But not only that, but they add in the rotating heart to refill up your HP, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, being that it's only like 4 things to wall kick off of. The level is a kooky one, and venturing through it while also seeing paw prints along the way from the dog is a show of character detail given what beads the new companion has shown to be capable of so far. Even if the dog isn't always present, it still feels good to know that there's someone along with Mario. Bowser's Rainbow Rings by Emu or Emu. This LSD-filled course is like a rainbow road that's disconnected and very astral in its spacey out-of-this-world feeling. And it's just as its name claims, the rings are ever so present, and along them are platforms you must take, as the rings are filled with lethal my own headcanon LSD, which is why Mario trips out. Platforms that are filled with bright, ever-changing colors, but not in an annoying way or anything that's too strenuous on your eyes. Rotating space-like rocks, floating water pools, adding that Super Mario Galaxy feel to them, and with each search for the individual red coins felt like a natural way to view all of what this Bowser level had to offer for its sights, which even having a sign notifying you that if you go any further to this path there will be no more red coins definitely felt more appreciative, because I definitely would have went on and then just been really mad because I would have forgot that, wow, I have 7 red coins, I forgot to grab the last one. But after grabbing said coin and then said star and continuing the ring trek with its additions on how you handle the platforming going further, and to make a final leap teleporting to where Bowser resides, but this time Chain Chomp is not present because he was sent to the pound for training for Bowser, but Bowser himself somehow captured our dog and there's no bombs, and frankly Bowser just spills out how he's supposed to be handled. And yeah, once we free our actual dog, it's like the boss fight goes from 0 to 100. Like everything is neatly executed here. Man's best friend is used to dig some hidden bombs that Bowser didn't know about, while also kicking back Bowser's offensive moves right back at him like it's the final fight from Ocarina of Time or something. And then upon picking up said bomb that the good doggo was digging up, it becomes like a bullet hell. With each turn that you hit him, it gets worse and worse, but no matter what, it's still fun. So something that definitely changed up that simplistic Bowser fight and adding more to the chaos nature that is this LSD trip. But nonetheless, Bowser is taken down again with his final warning of challenge for him and his Chain Chomp being better version of themselves than when the first fight started. Entering World 3, and first up is Sakura's Stronghold by Yoshi Milkman. Just from the world view itself, it looks like something out of Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, but with a more emphasis on that feudal era Japan, a gloomy looking sky, and in the middle of a forest with a few Koopa trolls around as guards for this once sacred respectable land. Deep into the forest, and platforming being an easy start with a few Super Mario World dinos as they, along with all the other enemies, invaded this once hidden sacred shrine. But luckily enough, our great guard dog is here protecting the star as he's been waiting for us. But back to the main area, and having that climb up the stronghold itself, being quick like a ninja plumber, dodging the risky winds and dinos for that star that's all the way at the top, but back to the bottom for the red coin search while avoiding these Koopa trolls and the mud-ridden paths that nerf your jumps and running speed, and with the only untouched by Bowser's Goon being the fountain centerpiece and the star statue behind it. This level was well designed in its theming and makes me wonder how long it'll be before someone makes a whole ROM hack based off of the Mystical Ninja 64 game, giving both Super Mario 64 and that game have that platforming genre kind of aesthetic to it, though I'm pretty sure it'd be a lot harder to do. put the Mario aesthetic in an ancient Japan landscape that would probably feel weird if it wasn't for the history of Mario going through different kinds of real life areas in the past. And not just counting Odyssey, but something you see from like Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. But overall, this was a good explorative filled level right here, and with a lot of hidden paths to be had and a lot of secrets to see. Forbidden Factory by PhantoFantasma. The first act starting in a wintry snowstorm, and the fog here really fits that type of Mount Everest likeness to it, and going up to the top is a wooden shack with a single door to it, and entering it with a single table inside, an obvious hidden pathway to be had, which is revealed to be a hidden elevator to a hidden Amazon-like workshop for Bowser's underlings, who surprisingly don't treat Mario as a hostile threat here. And even reading some of their dialogues gives a lot of that Mario Story 64 characterization to all of them, even though they have that current Paper Mario generic design to them. Knowing that this ROM hack has that unique feeling to each individual NPC here, and not only that, but unlike current Paper Mario, the stuff they say is actually pretty witty. Like the dog messed up the workflow for these two Koopas, and while one cares, the other one could care less, jumping through this randomly broken window. And the Bomb is pretty fine with picking up the glass, while the Goomba, who has no arms or no shoes and only has 2 teeth, is just pissed because Mario's jumping through the window and running around isn't helping out with the task. And even the Bomb that can't help but think about his evil side, wanting to push someone off to the abyss below, while the Koopa next to him is tired of his co-workers' mumblings and really wants to push him instead. Little things like that that feel down to earth, and to amplify that down to earth side, there's this poor unfortunate Koopa that's a leader of the garbage Koopa gang of like 3 Koopas in the leader that fell down a hole, and all the leader really wanted was better working conditions for everyone, just to have Mario beat the everlasting shit out of him, which also is another example of ROM hackers making Mario seem to be the asshole when he really doesn't have to be. Hell, you know it's bad down here when a Koopa is excited that somebody dropped a half-eaten chocolate bar with the wrapper included. But man, this was an absolute fun jungle gym to play around through, even though it's definitely not workplace safe to be doing that. But who cares, it's Mario. He's the same guy that just beat the shit out of a turtle just because he wanted better working conditions. I don't think he really minds. Desolate Reservoir by the Cozies. This Half-Life Portal-looking hybrid level is another soother, and given its cavern-like theme with waterfalls flowing with many rain clouds to bounce off of, and the little details of that misty waterfall effect at the bottom, the jumping about through this cave was a gentle start, and the next act being fully submerged of water, and with the new swimming controls without the air being a factor, feels oh so calming, and moving throughout and seeing the rain illusion from the outside adds on to that calming factor, along with the music that is present here. But unlike the first act, this act having a pollution side to the watery side the first one had, while avoiding falling into the purple sludge just to end up into a hallway of white like it's some Resident Evil or The Matrix or something to that extent type of roomed hallway, or maybe like Spider-Man of the PlayStation 1 with the Dr. Carnage or whatever type of nightmare induced that probably gave kids. But the next act, the side entrance, is definitely something that most people that might play this will never do until around the very end of this whole entire course level. Or maybe that's just me that got stuck collecting all other stars instead of the one that I actually needed to collect. But regardless of that matter, going through the level multiple times and getting a new perspective and seeing further to what this level had to offer, while feeling relaxed to all that was involved here, feeling like it was an underwater laboratory, and at the center of it revealing a sort of water system swirling about. I really enjoyed this course, even if I kept having to start all the way from the very beginning since I was on like the same act the whole entire time, just to have what felt like something that reminded me of Rayman 2, an OG childhood gym, even without a memory pack for me. But the finisher to the level also maximizes that feeling, being outside and getting yeeted by the water and seeing all that is around you. Imagine that. A fucking good water level. Man, that sounds like it's blasphemous or something. And last but definitely not least, Bowser's Furious Finale by everyone. Seeing everything around the globe, and while having the tab hover over this option for this said level and seeing everything around the globe as we traverse through is a great choice, as within this massive level is a collaborative effort of all of what has been showcased thus far in a chronological order, and with each level that is being revisited in a big slam grand tour besides red bones to collect. While all has been said for the most part of each individual level so far, this long level with its connected pathing and the Super Mario 3D game's teleporting box was a neat touch to help connect them all. But not only that, it also complements the unstable looking background of colorized electrical static, but still able to maintain the charm that was ever so present in each place, and revisiting the new enemies, new features, the same doggo but in a different form as things closely come to an end game. I really can't stress this enough, that everything that was put into this ROM hack feels like it's a testament to the love that many have for this 30+ and counting old video game of many's childhood, including myself. And while this ROM hack indeed came in third place in Super Mario 64's Hack of 2023, if it had been a choice of other ROM hacks that had a collaborative-like nature to it as its main nominees, then yes, maybe this game would have came closer. But outside of the runner-up and winner, which the two creators of those two games have even helped with their involvement with this ROM hack, their ROM hack stood on their own merit. But regardless, that doesn't invalidate what this ROM hack collaboration was able to do in a long shot. From start to this grand finish, every second is something I recommend anyone who is able to play this for themselves should try out, because each creator here no doubt made each level with the love, care, respect, and homages to what has become a Mario mania of a Super Mario 64 ROM hacking renaissance. And as good as this is, it only scratches the surface to what is probably possible in an all-in-one package deal when it comes down to SM64 ROM hacks. But after a long-awaited journey, it all must come to an end, and before Mario is Bowser, his chain chomp, but more importantly, the very good doggo, him or herself. And while the battle isn't as intense as the last, being a bullet hell of sorts, seeing a dog do a Dragon Ball Z level beam wave isn't what I was expecting in the slightest. But I will say though, this fight did feel like a callback of Mario Odyssey's second boss with the big bunny boss lady in a way, but it all ends in that Super Mario 64 fashion by throwing Bowser into a bomb, and finally the game comes to its conclusion. You know, just please ignore the fact that Peach is getting her ass blasted right now. That's just completely irrelevant, even if it is a little on the funny side. Collab.z64 is an amazing ROM hack collaboration that I'm still in belief Cheezepin was the main lead to this idea. I'm still kind of confused on how that's kind of sorted, but besides that, that's my bad if I get it wrong in my thinking. But regardless, all of who that have made this ROM hack a possibility deserve some sort of medal of Super Mario 64 honor. I played many ROM hacks in my fair share of the past decade or so, and seeing how far things have gotten brings joyous tears to my eyes, seeing all that has been made possible. And even at the very end of it, the end screen not only being wholesome, but having the ability to actually reset the game after beating it. That in itself is already a rarity that I have yet to see any other ROM hacks really do. At least according to my memories, I feel like there probably is, like, at the very least one more that has been able to do it, but shit, I can't remember that shit now. There's too many of them. There's too many ROM hacks, damn it. But after beating the game, you end up unlocking a speedrun mode at the end, so that's pretty cool. So for those that want that challenge for that in-game timer, unlike normal speedruns that have that tedious rule like watching a long cutscene after messing up a jump in Tears of the Kingdom or something like that, and as an example, you got that here. But besides all of that, this was basically Collab summed up, but not too much that you can't play for yourself, which I still feel you should do and give it a chance. It's a great ROM hack made by great minds of creativity and with a whole lot of effort and soul poured into it. I mean, hell, look, even Mario's boot have soul now. You can't get better than that. Nonetheless, to all that may have been included in this ROM hack, may have gotten the bronze medal for the hack of 2023, they all have a gold star worthy ROM hack package deal here. And I hope that all that was involved and helped out with this continue with their game making skills, whether it's in SM64, outside of SM64, or even both. But the next and last video in this SM64 Hack of 2023 series will be the 4th place hack, Super Mario The Stolen Stars. So if that interests you, do the YouTube reviewer stuff, I guess, if you want. And above all, thanks for watching.